Our whole firm is based around a team approach to cases. There's no case that's just about one person. The Rekas family came to our firm while Sammy was still in the hospital. She was just this happy, sweet, friendly little 7-year-old girl. She took children's Motrin simply because she was having fever and a little fatigue. Within a day or so, she was getting redness and rash. Now we know from the children's Motrin, but those symptoms weren't identified on the label. She ended up losing about 95% of her skin. Ultimately, she went blind. Her weight dropped to 32 pounds. Even the most mild cold puts her into the hospital because her immune system is so deficient at this point. She can't have children. She'll never drive. She can't participate in sports. She has struggled to make it through high school. The doctors kept telling her parents that she had a 1% chance of surviving. This was just debilitating in every which way. It's not a common reaction, and it's a very dangerous reaction. The chance of fatality from toxic epidermal necrolysis is 40%. The drug company, Johnson & Johnson, knew about it for 30 years. They testified, and this went in at trial, safety warnings are bad for sales. And so they never warned something as simple as, if you get redness, rash, and blisters, quit taking it. And the problem is, the only way to prevent Stevens-Johnson syndrome, which is the beginning of this, and toxic epidermal necrolysis from happening, is to quit taking the drug. They're so dangerous, they're so debilitating, and they're so life-threatening that you need to warn about them. Johnson & Johnson said the FDA would have prohibited them from giving the warnings we advocated. Why in the world would the FDA prohibit a drug company from making its label safer and thereby making their drug safer? So my involvement started right from day one, and even though my involvement's more in the law came up a lot right from day one. We had several paralegals and attorneys who worked on this more than full-time for years. For 2.5 years, this took up the vast majority of my time and effort. We strategized carefully, we talked a lot, thinking, how can we fight these odds? Getting to know Rick Rekas, Lisa Rekas, and Sammy Rekas, you just want to work. I have a painting of David versus Goliath, and as soon as we won this trial, I brought in that painting, and it sits in our office now because that's what this was. This was David versus Goliath. It was a huge example of just don't give up, hang in there, and you can succeed, and ultimately we did. And one of the great things about having won this trial, and then the appeal, and then the denial of cert, and it's finally over, is that she will now be able to afford the types of assistance that she needs. It's certainly one of my proudest moments of my career, but I also feel like it's not a solo thing. I don't feel like it's all mine, really. It took the trial attorneys and our staff to win this trial. It takes my wife supporting me for years as I was working 6-day weeks and nights on this case. Without her support, I don't win this case. It's a huge moment for me. I could not possibly be any prouder about it. And it's something that so many other people really contributed to so that I could be getting this.